Let's get something out of the way here. If you like the prequels, that's okay. I am not judging you. I am not attacking you. Last year, I talked about the idea of fan entitlement and this feeling of ownership that some fans have with properties. Works of fiction are important to us. In many cases, they help shape our identity, and thus it feels like if a property is scrutinized, we are in turn criticizing the person who likes it. I am not doing that. You are not the property. A person is not a product. I am not casting judgment upon you for enjoying the prequels. You are allowed to like things that I do not. It's called an opinion for a reason. I am explaining why I have a problem with them, but you can just shrug and say, okay, I still like them. My critiques are my own. This is stuff that I personally cannot get past. Last December, I made my defenses of The Last Jedi, and people responded and argued with me, and a lot of them had good points that I could probably concede to. But I still love the film, and they're not changing my mind. Just like I'm not doing this to change yours. I'm here mostly to analyze comic adaptations and to make boner jokes while recapping it. What's more, it is okay that there are problems. None of these movies are perfect. It's just the problems with the prequels are so glaring in comparison to all the other movies that for me and many others, they detract from the experience and make it difficult to enjoy them. And we wanted to enjoy them. We wanted to love these movies. We're all Star Wars fans. We all grew up with them. In 20 years, a generation will grow up with the sequel trilogy as their first and favorites. I know a big reason why a lot of you defend the prequels is because they're your Star Wars, the ones you saw first as a kid. And I freely admit there's a problem with talking about the prequels in this way. This is a review of the comic books, but one big part of why they don't work is because of the medium they were made for. Movies. The acting is bad. It is really, really bad. Some bits of acting are obviously better than others, and there are sequences where the acting is fine. Especially Ian McDiarmid, who's clearly having the time of his life and knows exactly what he's doing. There's a reason why a lot of dialogue in the prequels has become infamous and meme-worthy, because the delivery is so stilted or the lines are so lame that you have to laugh at it. It's the same reason why The Room is so infinitely quotable, because it's bad writing linked with a terrible performance. And while some of that can be laid at the feet of the actors, as someone who has had to direct other people in storylines and movies, a director often needs to work with their actors to get the kind of performance they want. And it's clear that George Lucas did not do that. And I will be fair to the man. He knows he's not that kind of director. Hell, his passion is in camera technology and the mechanics of filmmaking. He is not an actor's director, and he is not a writer, and he will be the first to admit that. It's why he had other people revise his scripts and direct his movies with the original trilogy. But by that same token, he knows his own faults and shortcomings and didn't try to improve on them or play to his own strengths while letting other, better qualified people handle his weak spots. It was ultimately his responsibility when he made these things. He is most certainly not the boogeyman of Star Wars that many made him out to be over the last couple decades, but he is not blameless in the problems of the prequels. I mean, when you're the writer and director, I'd like to think that you have some control over the product you're making. Call me crazy if you'd like. Anyway, like with my reviews of the other Star Wars movie comics, I'll also be commenting on these things as adaptations of the films, their strengths and weaknesses in that regard. One big advantage the comics have over the movies already is in the effects department. At the time, the prequels showed off state-of-the-art CGI technology, not just for creature effects, but entire environments. They have not aged well, and in fact, for a lot of the movie, you can definitely notice a fakeness of everything around the actors, as if everyone was inside of an old 90s full-motion video game. Comics don't have that weakness, instead allowing for everything to look like it all belongs in the same universe. The bad performances are not present if you've only read the comic and not seen the movie. Unless the artwork doesn't carry the emotion, but then that's the artist's fault. Unless somehow there was an editor or something who looked at the art and said, no, more bland! More hollow husks of living beings! Make it sound more like they're reciting city council bylaws!